I spent 10 hours, fixed hundreds of bugs, nearly rage quit, but made a game in which math is your literal weapon. One day I had a thought. Most solo game developers do not earn anything from their games, and some of them even get to negative profit. So I decided to make a small experiment. What if I will make a game and document the entire process? Worst case scenario, I will lose a ton of time and energy and earn nothing. But at least maybe I will have an audience. And I started to record the full process of development. So I opened Godot and created a new project. At first I called it MathMage. It's a terrible name, by the way. The idea was simple. You are a triangle that destroys their enemies using math. Sounds weird. That's what I like. The first thing I needed was a way to generate endless math questions. Okay, it's easy. Just generate random numbers and random signs between them. But here's the thing. How do I know the answer to the problem I created? Am I really gonna calculate the answers manually by myself? And when I tried to write the code for this, I failed. Luckily, I found out that Godot has a class named expression. It can take a string of math operations and calculate the result automatically. Yay! So after a few minutes, I had a working question generator. Then I added parentheses to make questions even more interesting. And after that, I drew some placeholder art. Yeah, not my proudest art. Okay, we have some direction of how everything should look like. Now let's get it into the game. I made the panel where the questions will be displayed. And now, the part where it kills me. The answer system. Yeah, it may seem simple now, but then it was a nightmare for me. Bugs everywhere, buttons broke, questions did not update, but after an hour, I finally came up with a code. So the gameplay is simple. You get a math question and 3 possible answers. And as you've guessed it, only one of them is correct. Answer correctly and you attack. Answer incorrectly, well, you deserved it. Now let's create the enemy. It will be a square. Nah. It will be a rhombus. And I drew a donut, made it purple, and now we have a heat wave. Subscribe to the channel. Now let's create the player itself. Remember when I told you that the player will be a triangle? Forget that. It's now a circle. Notably, not just a circle, but a concentration of energy. It has 3 layers. Each layer is 1 HP. Okay, it's looking good. Now let's give him its heat wave too. At first, it looked terrible, so I used shaders to make it look better. The problem is, I do not know how to code shaders. So I got the code from ChatGPT. You can boo me all you want, but I will learn from it. Mark my words. Then I encountered one of the strangest bugs I had ever seen. When I spammed the wrong answer, the heat wave duplicated and what even is this? It looked like my game was slowly falling apart. So after an hour of debugging, I discovered that every shader was shading the same state. So I made every material unique. And just like that, the bug disappeared. But the biggest problem were not the bugs, it was the math itself. Sometimes the game generated too complex and even impossible questions. And sometimes there wasn't a correct answer. Imagine losing because the game itself was wrong. So I completely redesigned the system. Instead of generating random operations, I switched to fixed templates, where you just need to replace the letters with random numbers. And suddenly, the game was actually fun to play. At this point, the game worked, but it looked empty. So I decided to add some movement in the background. Dunes, Haras thought immediately. At first, I wanted to generate them using shaders, but I failed. Then I had an even better idea. What if I draw a super long line with bumps and hills everywhere and just show a small part of it on screen? And it worked. Also, I randomly changed its color and size when showing on screen. But what is the second thing when you think of desert? No, not scorpions. Cacti. I added them too, and now it really has some atmosphere. The last thing that my game needed was tension. It was too safe and there was no pressure, so I decided to add a timer. The timer itself was easy, making it look good wasn't. Initially I wanted to add it into the question panel, like embedding it with the panel, but the curved edges made everything so hard that it nearly made me give up. I rage quit instead. So the next day I tried a different approach. I just separated the timer from the panel. It was easier and simpler, and honestly, it looks better too. So here is the result after 10 hours of development. But I have a confession to make. To be honest, it was not purely 10 hours. I did not record some boring moments like reading manual, watching tutorials and just staring at the screen, thinking. So yeah, I think you can add some 1 or 2 hours that was spent to that activity. And looking at the result, we have a small mobile game where you solve equations, destroy your enemies with a heat wave and fly over a desert. Was it worth it? When I was working on it, I felt that the answer was no. Like, I was thinking, what am I even doing? Making games? Shouldn't I find some more serious job? but I kept going, even an hour a day. And looking back, yeah, it was worth it. I learned something new, I posted some shorts and gained some following. And honestly, that's already a victory.